dear. Right, I have... Oh, there we are. Excellent. We have found ourselves. That's a starting point. Facebook has been difficult. I can't share from here. I have no idea what will happen. So hopefully... Hi, Taylor. Could you share this to my page and to the Crafty Surgeon as well as to your pages? Because it's taken me quite a while to get this all sorted out. But hopefully we'll have a few people joining us this evening. And I'm assuming you can hear me because I've got all my sounds turned on. Excellent. Oh, we've got some ladies joining. Well, that was a trauma tonight, ladies. No, that's fine, Taylor. It's because we've gone live in an event. And it quite often doesn't let you share directly from events, but I will be able to share it after the events. It's just a pain because I go live from my computer, not my phone. I couldn't manage it the way that in the same format. Anyway, it looks like we've got people watching because I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 people watching, so that's cool. I think it's cool anyway, but we'll sort it out afterwards if necessary, because it's currently, my phone's telling me we've got 3 eyes, and I don't believe it for 1 minute at all. I have put the light on, hence the shadow, because I had to move my computer. I've had to move my light system, but hey ho. So, welcome. If you're watching this as an event while it's going out live, there will be a red oval at the top left of your screen, and I will hopefully see your comments, see who's watching, and will be able to answer any questions that you have. If that red box is not there, then I'm no longer live, and I apologise if I don't see your comments, but put hashtag replay and hopefully I will see them later on and get some notification that I have gone live, that you've been through and watched, and I can say thank you. So I'm Jill. I'm I'm a creative who does lots of lives. I was asked by the lovely Lynette and Taylor if I would do a live this evening featuring Pretty Gets Gritty stamps. And the reason for that is that they have a 60% sale on their A5 and their A6 stamp sets, so if you like the look of them, there is probably never going to be a cheaper time to sell them. And just so that you're aware that I think it's now for a whole host of reasons that I'm not going to discuss, but I am aware of, I think it is time for us to move to buy directly from small companies rather than going to anywhere else to supply that you may previously have seen the items available at. So I've decided tonight that we're going to keep this live fairly simple. I've not got lots of mixed media products out, but I do have some distress oxides because it's a long time since I've seen them, and I have them in Worn Lipstick, Dusty Concord and Dried Marigold. And the first thing I'm going to do is use this stencil from Pretty Gets Gritty. We're going to create a broad background so that we can then chop it up for the final make. So we're using Pretty Ornate, which is like a damask, and it's a great stencil because you can line it up and move it about. And we're going to be naughty because we can. We're just going to actually mix these colours directly on the stamp, well, on the page, which is a bit naughty because it means that I'm going to end up with colours that muddy together. But because these are all essentially pinks and reds, pinks and oranges, they shouldn't make a mud because they're all warm toned products, and the blues will work. So as I've said, I can now shovel this down because I've got a gap here. I can reline my stencil approximately. I'm not going to be too mithered. There we are. There we are. That will work. And let's just add. Oh, she says, don't really want to shovel it like that. And we're just going to make. I have got one prepared, I have to say, because I'm ever the skeptical about lots of things. There we are. That's reasonably lined up. So there we are. Let's just add some of that pink, which is warm lipstick, some of that dried marigold. Let's just add some of the dusty concord, and we're going to layer lots of different things, so it won't really matter if we've not got a perfect alignment, because it won't really, because as I say, I'm not intending this being the final step in the process. And we will ultimately be mixing things up a little bit. So there we are. This stencil is beautiful. It's easy to add in. Hello Kim, welcome my darling, welcome. As I say, we're just going to mix it up. I think we've all got products in our stashes that we don't necessarily use very often. There we are. So we now have an edged border from there, and we're going to then start adding lots of other things to this. And you might think this is going to be a bit different for me, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So let me just find what I'm going to use. So the first stamp set I am going to use is As Time Goes By. Thank you, Taylor. That's lovely. They do work nicely together. As Time Goes By. So this stamp set has one very big focal and lots of smaller images, and I love adding these extra images. Now where's that one gone? Oh, there it is. You see it's come off its backing. There we are. Thank you, Sarah, for okay. There we are. So we're going to add some things to this. So that's a big stamp set, but it's rather lovely. And I do have a thing about clocks and time. And we're going to add this and add this. And we're just essentially creating a board of colour, rather than it all necessarily being and as I say, I will be chopping it up. So let's just make sure we've got that up the right way, and I'm going to pop it partly on and partly off. And I quite often use my ink pads as a baron, because why buy something specific when you've got something that will do the job? I know, isn't that terrible of me? But there we are. And we've got a bit of ink left on there on that side, so let me just puddle that over there, and that can go there. And we're just, oh dear, she's having moved that about, but we can sort that. Oh, she says. And I've just got a wad of paper under here. I've not got a stamping platform, so I'm flying a little bit wild today, but that is also just okay, because why do we need a safety net? Let me just move that up there, then you might be able to see better what I'm doing. I'm going to have my main light on, my ring light on fairly soon, aren't I? In fact, for people to see what's going on, because we're getting to that stage. There we are. So let's take that up there. As I say, we're just going to make an entire collaged piece of paper, and then we will be chopping it up, because why not? But think of it as making, all I'm in effect doing is making myself a sheet of paper. I could buy sheets of paper, pretty papers, there's lots of them on the market. But sometimes, actually, if you look in your stash, you can make your own up, because what are they all? They're essentially layered pieces, aren't they? Imagery that a clever digital person has has put together and linked and layered. So there we are. We don't want a whole of that, so let's just pop a little bit of that up there. There we are. Give that a little squash. And we've got ink on half of this, so let's just pop part of that down there. And we're probably not going to see any of these as whole images anyway. There we are. Right, so let's just take that. So that was Portobello Versafine ink, which is a soft brown, and I rather like it because it's a soft brown. I know, because I had it out. I have. There we are. You see, I've got a well-loved, very well-loved and abused thin acrylic block there. So now we're just going to add some extra detail. So the brown's going to be the dominant colour here, which is fine. So from the same As Time Goes By stamp set, I'm going to be naughty again because the rules are meant to be broken. Of course they are. There we are. We're just going to mix up the pink and the orange in there, and we're going to turn that around, and this will multi-stamp for me. So I'm going to get lots of variation in colour and in amongst all of this, and that is fine. And I might have used slightly different colours. Oops, that's upside down, so hope no one's going to read that too obviously, but hey ho. So we might swap things about a bit. There we are. Let's get that turned up the right way. There we are. And we're just adding imperfect details. I like the way I say imperfect details. Why wouldn't we have an imperfect detail? There we are. Do want it up the correct way though. Okay, so I've gone on, off and over the place, and as I say, I know full well that that is going to be moved about a bit, and I've used them in slightly different ways in my other master copy, but it's not going to make a lot of difference. So these are numbers, coordinates, no idea, but I rather like them. So let's just pop that up the way, and this is the Dusty Concord, so we can pop this into here, and we're just literally, as I say, we're just building up a random pattern. Well, random pattern? Patterns aren't normally random, are they? There we are. So there we are. We will sort that out. That can go up there, that can go over there, that can go over there. So we I don't really want to drop it upside down on my page because that's not really where I'm wanting to be. There we are. There we are. Let's just add a little bit there, a little bit there. Little bit there. Oh dear, something's just fallen on the roof. There we are. So we've now got a lot of mixture on there, and I just want one more. And again, so this is why why these stamp sets are just such a good thing to have, because you've got a focal and then lots of different elements, and that will absolutely allow you then to build up what you're doing. So let's just add the little butterfly randomly, and for this one I'm not deliberately not using multiple generations because it's quite pale and my background is now quite busy, but that's okay. And I'm turning them round so they're not all flying in the same direction. And I don't necessarily want the whole images on everything. So there we are. So let's just pop that onto there and put that there. And then I want something that is a little bit more dominant. And the title for my piece, which is going to get chopped up, but that's also just fine. So for this I'm using the Vintage Vibes stamp set, which has got lots of different sentiments that will work for lots of different occasions. So that's why I'm going to pick that one up, and I'm swapping to Morning Mist because it's a darker colour. So I know I'm mixing up my things, but that's fine. So let's just pop that there, so that you don't get a very dark second generation with your VersaFine inks, particularly not when they're older, which some of these are. And it doesn't matter if I've not got complete copies, because as I say, I'm going to be chopping it up, and my whole intention of this is that I'm going to be using it as a background, really. Let's just pop another one into there, and I think we've got another gap there. So there we are. Let me pop that back before I lose it, because that would be a real pity, because that is a go-to stamp set for me. I love it, Sarah. I'm not it just is that perfect grey. I do like sand dune as well, and the portobello. They're softer colours, and I think therefore they work better with the distress inks than maybe Fallen Leaves would, or even Nocturne. I'm going to get Nocturne out, but right, let me pop that safely out of harm's way. So there we are. What might you think this little lot is? Well, let me think and let me see. So I have a beautiful die cut, and that comes from this die set, Clocked On, which is another of Lynette's dies. But the dies are not on offer, but remember, the A5 and the A6 stamp sets are. And I have got some black mats all cut to size, and some pieces of paper. So, and I've got some extra bits. So we'll tuck those out of the way. So there we are. So we're going to make a card. I know, me make a card, I hear you say. It doesn't happen that often, does it? So the back of my card is a 7-inch square piece of cardstock that I have scored at 2 inches and scored at 2 inches, and I have a mat for each of those that is 1/16 smaller. I know, whoever knew I could be that accurate. And the central panel is 3 inches, so those will sit onto there. So that means I need to cut some panels that will work for here. So let me just take my my background. Let's take the one that we've done, because we just need to chop that up. So my panel was 7 inches, and I want this to be just up. These were 6 and 7, 15/16. So let me just start. So this is going to be 6 and 7/8. I know. How about that for being specific? Okay. So that's now the correct size. So my first panels are 2 inches. So that's going to be 1 7/8. And then that and that should now be 6 7/8. I think well, it won't matter really which end I take it off of. There we are. So that can go onto there. We're going to take the next panel, which should be 3 inches, so that it was just 15th, 16th, so 3, it's now 3, 2 and 7/8. Just to be difficult. 2 and 7/8, 6 and 7/8. So I'm just literally trimming off little bits onto here. Okay, and that should be, I don't want it off that side, I want it off that side. So 1 and 7/8 can come off there, that can go there. 6 and 7/8. I know it's not like being difficult, is it? But it's just a set of numbers. It is just a set of numbers, and those 3 bits I will be utilising, but we will have some more pieces to go on. So let me just pop those out of the way over there for the moment, and let us just add some ink to these edges, because it just looks a bit flat without adding just a little bit of ink. And this is my background to the card. The focal is going to be slightly different, and it's going to be on a different part of this process, because remember, all I've done is taken a 7-inch square piece of card at this point. I've got quite a reasonable amount of ink on here, I think, from my stenciling. There we are. Thank you, Elizabeth. I try to mix it up. I would get way too bored if I didn't mix things up. So let me just take some ordinary glue, and then let's just pop these onto here. Could we have a plan? We cleared it. There should be someone who can see you, Joan. You know, consultants do have teams that work with them. I know it can be difficult, and there should be an alternative consultant if it's an emergency who can see you at any stage, my darling. So if you are worried, hassle the secretaries and ask that they try and expedite something for you, particularly if you're at the beginning of that 3-week period. So I'm just going to add those, and all I'm going to get is the tiniest smidgen of black around there. I just want that little tiny edge. It does make a difference, believe me. If you like a bigger edge, just cut your pieces a little bit smaller. You are in control of what you're making. There isn't a right and there isn't a wrong. So just because I've done it this way, you do you. There we are. And we'll pop that on here. There we are. Has anyone got a clue where I'm going with this card, with this base? I think it might become clear shortly. There we are. Okay, so before I add these onto here, I've taken 2 strips of card. Let me pop these back onto my cutter so I can tell you actually what I cut them to, because it will then perhaps begin to make sense. So these are cut at 8 inches long by 1 1/4 inches wide. So it's 8 inches by 1 1/4 inches. So it's scored at 1/2 inch, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, 7 1/2 to give me the flaps. So it looks like that. And I have 2 of these. Yep. Do you want me to repeat that, ladies? So 8-inch strip, 1 1/4 wide, scored at 1/2, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, 7 1/2. There we are. Okay, so we will need that out in the go. And similarly, I've cut myself some mats, so these can just go onto here. So that can go into the centre of that one. Let's just make sure I have got it in the centre of there. There we are. There we have got all the pieces. There we are. Let's just pop that into there. I'll pop this one onto here. There we are. So those are little, just that, literally that smidgen smaller. And remember those offcuts? We're just going to have to give those a little trim because they're still too long. They're too wide. They're the correct width, but not the length. So that needs to be 1 7/8. Make sure we've got that up the right way. That will be 1 7/8. And so these have definitely all got a correct side to there. 1 7/8. Okay. And then we'll trim some extra pieces in a minute. So that is the piece that needs to go on that end. So I'll pop. Well, I didn't cut that the right size, did I? Because who is an idiot? Right, well, that's when it's just as well you have lots of extra pieces of card. So that's okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know what went wrong there. Oh, anyway, let's just re-trim it too. It won't matter. It will not matter. I do quite a lot of searching online for things, so let me just make sure that that's then approximately, yeah, the correct size. I must have got that down and onto the wrong space, so let's just pop that there. So let's have just under 2. Just under 3. Hey, see, when you've got a mood board and it's gone wrong and you've done it wrong, you can just literally chop your own pieces up, can't you? We're going to need lots of that. One and 7/8. There we are. 1 7/8. 1 7/8. 1 7/8. Hopefully that should be about the correct size for that. And we're going to need 2 more of those. There we are. So just bear with. Oh dear, I am definitely going to have to here we are. Swap my camera position for next time and pop it into a better place. Okay, right, eeny, meeny, miny, we'll get there. So we've got 2 of these strips. Let's just pop these mats onto here because it's easier to do this as we go along the line. And some of these mats are quite thick because I've used a 400 GSM I think for some of that, but hey ho, there we are. We'll pop that onto there. But 250 would work quite as well. There we are. Pop that onto there. Pick that up round the right way. So I think some of it, Elizabeth, in terms of where do I get my ideas from, is just confidence in what I'm doing, and having been crafting for many, many, many years. I did say just little borders of things. There we are. There we are. That one has slid. That's not quite where we want it. We'll pop that on the bottom because it's be less obvious there. Right. And let's just grab a little bit more ink because we've got mucky, icky, sticky fingers. There we are. So could use glue. You really could be using whatever you want. So let's just make sure I pop that in up the correct way, long term. There we are. So each of these pieces will have slightly different elements on it. As long as they're up the right way, it won't matter. And they've got partial images, and that's also absolutely just fine because, as I say, I don't know about you, but if you have a fancy piece of very expensive paper that you've had to buy a whole book for, you end up chopping it up and using bits of it. So this really isn't a whole shed load different, except that I've made my fancy piece of paper with my stamps and my stencils instead of having to cut up a piece of paper. So to me that is, let's pop that up the right way. It's just the logical thing to do, isn't it? And this is completely fortuitous, but I've got a dreamer over there and I've dreams for here. So there we are. And we can balance completely fortuitously the numbers up there with the numbers down here. There we are. So, okay. Let us just now take our pieces, and I have a whole panel that I can use for another project. Yippee, a twofer. So let us just take that and line that up on the top of there. At the top of the page. There we are. Let's get that lined up and even. And line that on up and even. And let's just give those a little bit of time to grab. So has anyone worked out what style of card I'm making? There's lots of them around at the moment. Lots and lots and lots. So I can now disguise that workings with my mat. So that there's nothing ugly on display. There we are. Pop that one into there. So I'm now going to ink that side, and that can come over to there. There we are. We'll pop that down. I can glue that aside, she says. Just need to be careful when you're working with distress inks because they are water reactive, so if you're not careful you will smudge all of your ink. There we are. And then we can slide this one into the back. Of here. And tuck that into place quite happily. Let's just give those all a little burnish down. There we are. Right, I'm just going to wipe my hands because they're currently full of distressings. Okay. So I now have a card that will stand up. Comme ça. I think they're called floating hexagon cards, but actually you could make these any size you want, because although it is six-sided, it's certainly not evenly six-sided, but you could make them any shape or any size that you want. So the next thing to do is to add a piece across here. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue, top and bottom. Make sure it's reasonably central, and we're going to glue that in place. Thank you, Taylor. It's different, isn't it? There we are. So at this point you could just leave it like that. We're not going to just leave it like that. It wouldn't be me, would it? It would not be me, but that can sit and dry. So let's come back to another stamp set. Another one, yet another one, because why not? Thank you, darling. It's a nice technique. It didn't take, I'd seen a video, I have to be fair and say, but actually I haven't used any of the measurements. Having seen the concept, I was very definitely able to do it all myself from there. Right, what did I do? So I have a third stamp set here. Yeah, you mix and match your products. So this one is from Lynette's stamp set Strength in Numbers that you've seen me use before. And this is the joy of stamps, isn't it? Because it means that you can, she says, looking for her grey ink pad that she's put somewhere completely safe, because why wouldn't you put it completely somewhere safe when you know that you're going to need it again? Oh well. Where has morning mist gone? Well, never mind. As we can't see the morning mist, we will, and we're wanting a focal, we will swap to Versifine Nocturne. I hate this ink pad. I always end up with it smudging, which is why I prefer the paler ones, because they don't smudge. There we are. So let's just pop that onto there. We'll give this a little squash. It'll be somewhere safe, of course it will. Of course it will. Why wouldn't it not be? There we are. And as I know I want two of them, I have cut one out, but I've smudged that, so hey ho. So let's just do another one, and you can endure the pain of some fussy cutting at some stage, because why not? Okie dokie. There we are. We'll just do that and that and that. And we might as well do all of the inking whilst the going is good. There we are. Excellent. Right. Let's come back to... So I've got so much stuff now on my desk. It is untrue. Let's just take that off there, pop it there, and go back to the vintage vibes. It's such a good stamp set. So let's just take, we'll pop it onto a smaller one of those because it's going to be easier. There we are. Let's just have Dreamer of Dreams. We put it on there completely straight? No, let's just lift that and flop it down. So let's just pop that over there, because that will work as a sentiment. And then let's just take the ticket, and then we'll give these a little blast with a heat gun. There we are, we'll pop that over there. We might have 2 of those. Why not? Why not? Why not? I have a third already done. There we are. Let's just pop that onto a clean area over there. There we are. That can go over there. And then I'm going to give this a blast with a heat gun. Because if I don't give it a blast with a heat gun, I know full well what the next move will be. And that's me ending up smudging all of the ink. Give this a little waft all over. And if you move it, you can generally see if it's still shiny and not completely dry, because Versaline is an oil-based ink. I just want to give that a good blot, because do I trust it not to smudge? No! Very good. I've no idea what it was, my darling. But there we are. I think it's good to support companies, but I think it's even more important now to order direct rather than ordering via distributors. I'm not going to say any more, so I might find myself in hot water. I don't want that one, don't want that one. Hi Kay, welcome my darling. Thank you for joining us. So this is an opportune time. So this is back from that original stamp set, which is called, she says now if I haven't got these all mixed up, As Time Goes By. This one with all of its different stamps on it. Each of these is a separate image, and they're now all tucked under there together. Brilliant. Well, stamps are such a versatile tool, aren't they? And I'm going to add some colour into this. And I'm going to go back to that mix it up approach that I had. So I've not got true colours. Let's just pop that up the right way. So let's just have that, that, that. I'm not going to do it for all of them. We might just have a bit of smooshing, smoosh colouring, because that, why not, indeed. There we are. I've got a little bit of the interest in those backgrounds. There we are. And we're just going to, thank you Kay, they are, the stamps are lovely, and more importantly they are fabulous quality. So let's just pop that over there, and let's pop that into there. Okay, so a smoosh. Let's go for some purple, and let's go for some of that. And let's have a little spritz of water, because why not? Why not? Why not? I don't have a water pencil out with me today, but there we are. Well, I might have, but I can't see it. There we go. We'll just have one of these, and let's just pick some of this up. And we're not going to be careful. I only want the florals, so I'm just going to mix it up. It will give me lots of nice colour variation. So we want some purple. I haven't got any green on the rest of it, so we might just have a bit more we might not. There we are. So you really can't get more simple than this. You know, I'm not a great fan of messing about. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't say I'm an artist in any way, shape or form, but I do enjoy having a good play. Before I put my mucky mitts into that, I'm just going to mop it up. Yeah, I know there's lots of people who would consider that very wasteful. Yeah, you've got to love a bit of smooshing. Got to love a bit of smooshing. But the joy of this is that I can have everything that I know is going to work completely together because I've used the same colours all the way throughout. I've added a bit of black as a neutral, I've added some white as a neutral, but essentially I've used the same colours all the way through, and that means I have got no risk of having the wrong shades getting in the way, or mixing or matching or do anything else. Right, this will be when I know how well I have actually heat set it. So let's just chop that out. So lots of lavenders in that, I would think, Sarah. There we are. So we're just going to take this and cut around it. I think that's an awful lot of fussy cutting. Yes, maybe, no, maybe. It's not so difficult. Definitely easier without too much excess paper, which is why I chopped off the rest of it. And it's because I'm wanting the background on it, it's definitely easier to leave yourself a little white border which we can ink. There we are. So who saw the pictures of Lynette earlier on today in that stunning blue dress? It's gorgeous. She looked amazing in it. Wish I looked like that, having had half a fraction of the children she's had. She is amazing. There we are. And it won't take very long because, and deliberately by leaving a white border, it doesn't matter if it's not quite so accurate. So this just will make life look, just look so much easier, and it means that I've got a base then to work with. There we are. Yeah. There are some bits of that sometimes when I wish that I hadn't decided to pick something that was a little bit uppy downy messy. I'm sorry, I need it up to my face because I'm getting to the stage where my with age my eyesight is not as good as it used to be for cutting things out, and so thus far I think I've managed not to smudge it. There we are. We don't have to, we'll nip into that little bit because that will irritate me. So there we are. Just, it's worth taking the time. Doesn't have to be perfect, but cut out as much or as little as you want. There we are. Don't want a huge border, but definitely do want a little bit of a border, and I'm going to ink it. There we are. I did ask your mum whether it was her that was getting married, Taylor. She responded no, but she absolutely looked amazing. So let's just take a bit of that. Let's just add a little bit of inking around that edge. Remember, I've got the text stamping in there already. I did ask her, but no, she's responded and told me it wasn't her wedding. But oh, she just looked amazing. Right, Frustration City, here we come. No, I am teasing. Let me just chop this up, because I don't need all of that lot, and it wouldn't have mattered if I hadn't had that. Well, I thought it was a perfectly reasonable question to ask. She just looked so beautiful, and you don't have to have a white dress to be a bride these days, so I just thought, why not? Why not? There we are. I just hope I didn't offend her by asking a bit. There we are. We'll just pop a little ball tool into there, and bit by bit we'll add these in. So a little blob of glue that can go onto there. Oh dear, oh dear. There we are. It's just choppy. There we are. If I lean over to put my ring light on, it might just all go a bit wobbly, ladies. But I think it's now getting to the stage where I really do need it. So excuse me, I don't really wish to make you feel seasick, but I think and excuse my belly. Now what have I done? Come on camera, sort yourself out. There we are. She says, dropping bits on the floor. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There we are. Right, excellent. So let's just move that so we can see what's going on while I retrieve the flower that I've dropped on the floor. Oh well, we might not be retrieving the one we've dropped on the floor. That's better. That's better. It's a while since I've had to put my ring light on. There we are. I have dropped one of these, but hey ho, we'll live with that. We will live with it. There we are. Let's just take that little ball tool, lift that onto there. I think that one can go onto there. And we'll just leave some of them without, because then it will work. And no doubt after the live I'll promptly find the one I want, but hey ho. But that was also part of life. And by messy painting and smooshing around here, actually if I don't get, if I end up with some of the white from the edges showing, it's not going to matter. Don't want that one. That's a leaf. We don't really have pink leaves, do we? So there we are. Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, definitely always the way. Always the way. Right. Let's have a slightly bigger ball tool. Maybe not quite that big, but hey ho. Just want a little bit of height, a little bit of texture. Wouldn't be me if we didn't have a bit of texture, would it? So that's going to go onto there. There we are. And we'll just take one of these, because otherwise we could be here until silly o'clock, which would be fine, but not quite what I was wanting to do. There we are. So there we are. Let's take that little one, because that's going to work better. Let's just pop that onto there. Okay, so we now have a focal. Let's just clear some of this mess out of the way. We've got scubbins everywhere now, haven't we? Yeah, we have. Right. So, I'm going to pop this onto here as my focal. Just make sure we've got that into place. There we are. Let's just move you up. Take that out of the way. There we are. So you just need to be careful where you're putting the glue, because clearly if you're not careful where you're putting the glue, it'll get where you don't want it, and that might be, there we are. And I don't particularly want to squash it down onto there. So notice I've only put the glue here between those two places on top of that third panel, and I've been careful where I've put it in the rest of it. Let's just grab these pieces that we stamped. I love this kit. I don't know why, it's just a really useful filler. I've paired this Make back, so it's very definitely a mixed a stamping predominant make. Lots of inks that have been very neglected. There we are. We'll just add a little bit of that around there. We can pop that, and again we're just going to need to be slightly careful where we pop that ink. There we are. That can go onto there. I want that piece tucked underneath there. I know, but you want your mechanism to work, so you just need to be aware where you're putting that glue so that it doesn't pop into things or into areas that you don't want it. So there we are, that can go underneath there. Let's take our final ticket. We are, ladies, getting there. Honestly, we are. There we are. Let's just edge this one. And I'm going to pop that deliberately underneath there. So it's underneath. There we are. Now then, let's see what pickle we can make of getting the title out of here, because we can guarantee I probably will make a pickle. Right, let's just to start with lock this down, and then we can grab the trimmer, which is by my feet. And it's not stamped entirely straight, so that's fine. So let's just chop that way, that way, that way. That might be slightly problematic because we've not got that very straight when we've done it, but hey ho. Just grab a little bit of that black, get that out of the way. Let us grab our ink. There we go. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. Just going to chop that into two. Because it's going to be less obvious that it's on the wonk if I do that. There we are. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Straight is overrated. There we are. Let's just but there are some things that just look wrong if they're not straight. Sentiments are one of them. There we are. Pop that round there because I know full well what happens if I don't do that. It'll end up even more on the wonk. There we are. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Let's inevitably see if we can get that lined up with an approximately the same size. Should have left it where it was. There we are. There we are. Here. There we are. Pop that off there, pop that off there, pop that off there. So, where do we want that? Do we want that over there? I'm going to go, I think, with my first instinct. Do we like it? I think I do. So it's only going to be stuck on that panel. So it will pop up there. And then let's just pop that. So it pops off there. Let's just give those a little time there. Pop that there. Pop that there. Pop that onto there. So here is our finished make pop-up hexagon card. There we are. It will stand completely up. You do just need to be aware of where you're putting your glue, so you're not doing that. But there we are. So I hope that that is okay for everyone. Remember, ladies, you need to head to the Pretty Gets Gritty website and have a little look at what A6 and A5 stamps are in place. They are currently 60% off, which is an amazing deal. So well worth having a look at. I'm not too sure who is going to be live next week, but I'm sure someone will be. So just keep an eye out on the pages to see what's going on and who is going to be live. I just need to free my mouse. There we are. And you'll be able to see what else the team have been up to. And in the meantime, please stay safe. Look after each other, and above all, be kind and enjoy your crafting. Bye!